Hello and welcome to Sujith Talks. My name is Sujith Billa. I'm a registered migration agent living in Australia. If you need immigration advice, please go to my website sujithtalks.com and book a consultation. If you are after general information, this is for you. This video is about the difference between pro-rata occupations and non-pro-rata occupations and the impact of invitations that go to pro-rata occupations on that of non-pro-rata occupations. We're talking about some occupations that are subject to pro-rata, such as business analyst, accountants. You can see the list of occupations that are subject to pro-rata when you see the invitation results. Firstly, these occupations are having more supply than demand. When I'm talking about demand, I'm talking about occupations in demand. And all the occupations in MLT-SSL are in demand. But the supply of each occupation is different. Some of the occupations have more supply than demand. For example, the occupation ceiling value of a particular occupation A is 1000, but the supply is 2500. So what would happen in that scenario? In that scenario, obviously, people will get invitations only if they have more points than the others. That's one scenario. That is why we see occupations subject to pro-rata having points such as 75, 70, 65 as their cutoffs. So, going back to that example of 2500 from a particular occupation who are wanting to get an invitation from that occupation, and the ceiling value is only 1000, the government can't give all the 1000 invitations at once, assuming that there are more than 1000 people waiting in a queue for getting invited from that occupation. What it does, it has to give few invitations per invitation round so that it can divide the invitations in the financial year. And at some stage, it would have given all the 1000 invitations. So in a way, they are looking after the occupations in whose supply is more than demand. So they are prioritizing the invitations to the occupations that are having pro-rata on them. As a result of this, many occupations go to occupations with pro-rata and very few go to the occupations with non-pro-rata. Take an example of registered nurses whose occupation ceiling value is 16,000, more than 16,000, but they are not getting invited for 60 points. Why? Obviously, there's not many people, there's not much supply from that occupation. They should have got invited if the invitations are divided in a way such that every occupation from MLT-SSL will get equal number of invitations in a particular round. Unfortunately, that is not how the skill select works. It allocates more invitations to the occupations which have more supply than demand. And as a result of that, in some rounds, the non-pro-rata occupations are affected. And when I say affected, it means that they might not be getting invited for 60 points for few rounds. So don't panic. The trend might change and we should just wait and see and don't predict anything. Predictions are not good. Opinions are not facts. And a classic example of this, as I mentioned in my other video titled, "Would I get invited with 60 points?" I referred to the US election results in 2016 when majority of the mainstream media predicted somebody would win. And on the election day, on the results day, which is the same day in US, the results were different to what the mainstream media predicted, what the election pundits predicted. because they were not paying attention on the factors influencing the elections, rather than they are looking at some opinions and some opinion polls and pre-polls, and then just talking out of their heads sitting in a TV channel. So there are various factors that would influence an outcome of an election. Likewise, there are different factors that will affect the invitation results. Always, while watching these kind of videos, look at the upload date of the video, so that you know that whether the information in the video is updated or outdated, because in immigration things change dramatically and drastically. Well, if you want immigration advice, please go to my website sujithtalks.com and book a consultation.